there's Winston Churchill, there's Robert Frost, there's Shakespeare, and lately CNN's Ted Turner came out and said he had bipolar disorder, and yet achieved a one-of-a-kind CNN, where even the President of the United States said, when he was asked, what are you doing about the Iraq War, President Bush said, well, I turn on the TV and watch CNN to find out what is going on. So that's the genius that we've seen. My father died in 1987. And again, after my husband died in 1995. And it was stress-induced, as many chemical imbalances are. I didn't want to get out of bed. I felt very sad at foundering relationships. I didn't enjoy the usual things anymore. I had fitful sleep. I lost appetite. Just a minute, let me pose for her. Okay. And I was very, very depressed. I told my sister that the food tasted like cardboard. There was nothing that I liked. I woke up feeling every day would bring something horribly wrong. I was malfunctioning. I hated dressing up, which is, you can see, I love doing. And I hated putting on jewelry. I hated everything. I didn't want to leave my room. I was malfunctioning, and when everyone in the family noticed it, I decided to have a checkup. But it takes humility and courage to accept the condition. Because you know that something is wrong. People are telling you something is wrong, but you cannot put a name to it. So remember, that this was 22 years ago when I first discovered it. And so I didn't even know what it was. The doctors couldn't find anything wrong with me. You go through a physical, you go through lab tests, you go to everything, and they couldn't find anything. Everything was normal. But I still woke up every day feeling that the world was going to go wrong. So after several attempts, I found a nearby psychiatrist near our home in Hillsborough, California, and who told me, after I told him about my complaints and my symptoms, that I had clinical depression. So I was shocked. I didn't even quite know the phrase. This is 22 years ago, remember. I mean, I even matched my initials, CD, which I, found really funny. I usually had thought of my initials as, like Christian Dior, associated with things that were nice, certificates of deposit, CD, but nothing like that. So, Quiet Mind, and you can also Google that. And A Quiet Mind by Kay Jamison, talking about her own bipolar disorder, which won the Pulitzer Prize, by the way, because it opened up a lot of awareness. And this is why I'm still upset that they do not even allow ABS-CBN here, because it's so, mental illness is so prevalent here, disorders and depressions and everything, because that will make a lot of people aware. Over here, there have been brilliant men like Jim Young Pin, as you all know, in the newspapers that came out, and Ted Borlongan. In the newspapers again, so this is not violating privacy, came out, who have taken their lives. And I know several close friends whose child has become depressed and then followed Jim and Ted in their own fashion. I empathize particularly with Jimmy because Malacanang's Snake Pit in 1986, when Cory just came over, did to me what it did to him. All of a sudden they're asking you, when are you leaving, and stuff like that. And I felt really bad about it because here I was trying to help, and then minamasama pa yung pagtulong mo, like this TV crew. So we both went to psychiatrists. He committed suicide. I didn't, but I did think of it. And why did I survive? Why? Perhaps I was luckier and took my antidepressants more religiously. In the California newspapers, I read that Lee Hankey's daughter jumped onto an oncoming train in San Francisco. This was in the San Francisco Chronicle and later on in the newspapers here. Her first cousin here, also in the newspapers, was reported to have jumped from a dormitory out of depression. They were both bright and beautiful young kids in their early 20s or 19 years old. And their grandfather, the Chief Justice, was both a genius and a patriot. So many other cases flood my mind, and they're all in the newspapers and in the internet, and maybe more others who are not even, who don't even make it in the news on the internet. And someday we survivors may write a book about our cyclical depressions and other mental conditions, and perhaps in the process of talking about it and writing about it, we can create other survivors. Meantime, this is sort of
trabahong inyong ginagawa dito sa Pilipinas at sa abroad?
For today, in the Makati Medical Hospital, I spoke on the chemical imbalances and depressions and bipolar conditions which affect many people in this country, including, I must add, some of the politicians in this country. You know, depression, which is very close to my heart because our family has had to deal with it. It's a genetic and situational condition. And we have a good group support group here that takes care of the psychiatric and other mental stressful conditions.
Ma'am, many doesn't understand what really depression is. Yung iba tingin dyan, depression lang yan, it passes. But how does it really affect a person?
It can really cause, it can really be very deadly. There's times when you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do anything, you've lost interest in your life. There's times when you cannot sleep, you cannot eat. I lost, my appetite. Food tasted like cardboard. You cannot do the things that you normally want to do. And you get very, very different from what you really are. Sometimes I know some people who get very violent and they kill. Some people get very, very sad and they kill themselves. So it's a very, very prevalent condition. The important thing is, mental illness is not to be scorned or to be ashamed of. Mental illness is an ailment. It's an ailment. It's something that is as common as a common cold, or like diabetes or heart condition, and it has to be treated and not scorned, nor shunned, nor stigmatized. So it's a salvage, And I want people to be aware that some of these mental conditions are really deadly, and we can help a lot by talking about it, by discussing it, by telling people go seek professional. For other people who refuse to admit it or are very secretive about it. But my heart aches for the people like them, especially the young ones whose lives are ready to be lived. Because I was there and I was tempted to do what they did many, many, many years ago before I learned all about it. Treatment helped me. I was fortunate in New York to meet with the associate of Dr. Kay Jameson, the author of that book that I was telling you about. And he said that other treatments help, like prayer and yoga, meditation, massage, snake oil, herbal treatments, and all those. But the first step is always to seek professional help. If you can tell something's wrong already, you go to the doctor, go to a good, competent doctor to find out what it is you have. And if you have other members of your family or friends who might have something like this, you can advise them gently to see a doctor. There's nothing wrong with seeing a doctor. You can go with your physical checkup or something and describe the symptoms.